That's right, Maria. There can be no understanding between the head and the hands unless the heart acts as the mediator. Oh, uh, hey everybody, and welcome to the Moondream Press YouTube channel. My name is Michael H. Hansen, and I am the managing editor of Copper Dog Publishing, and Moondream Press is one of the three imprints of that. And this is my third video where I'm discussing various books we have for sale. So far, I've just been talking about the Sha'Daa Shared World series, and the third book in the series, not the third published, but the third one I'll be talking about, is kind of an exception to what happens in all the other books. All the other books take place over the same 48 hours, the event known as the Sha'Daa. Well, I decided I wanted to put something together that was a little different in the middle of the books that have been put out so far. And that one is called Sha'Daa Facets. Also, I realized I forgot to name who wrote the introduction for Last Call. Whoops, I point it right there. And as it clearly says on it, the author, Catherine Asaro, formerly an employee of NASA, a wonderful woman, wrote an excellent introduction. So, Catherine Asaro, introduction, Last Call. I apologize for not mentioning that before. Sha'Daa Facets. Maybe the most stories ever contained in one volume in the Sha'Daa. Sha'Daa Facets, you might say, is a prequel to the Sha'Daa. It's stories that take place across, 114, 115 years of human history. Kind of like the secret history of the Sha'Daa as it occurred simultaneously with a lot of events we're all aware of that are all commented on throughout the book. Another thing that drove all my authors crazy, including the author who is the editor of the series, Ed McEwen, was that I insisted that every single story in this volume be written in the epistolary style. Like if you've ever read Dracula, Dracula reads as a whole bunch of newspaper articles, journal entries, cable messages, magazine articles, just all of that. Yeah, but it tells a story, and it gives it a kind of a verisimilitude, believability that I always enjoyed when I first read Dracula. And I decided I wanted this to be that. And of course, some people tried to sneak around that. They'd submit me a story, and I'd realize the first 2 pages of it, and then the final 2 pages were written in the epistolary style, but like faded in and out of an actual story, like maybe a movie you've seen where you're reading somebody's journal and then it fades into the actual film. And I was like, no, not going to let that happen. Everybody had to write their story from beginning to end in, once again, I'm saying that word, the epistolary style. So I think it makes it something special. I'd like to read the author's list because it is quite long. C.J. Henderson, the late C.J. Henderson, Michael H. Hansen, Edward F. McEwen, who's also the editor of the book, Arthur Sanchez, Deborah Corin, Wayne Joseph Borin, Jason Cordova, Gustavo Bondoni, Jamie K. Schmidt, Richard Groller, Rob Adams, John Weiss, Sarah Wagner, Shabat Legion, Robbie Hilliard, Larry Ashley Jr., Beth W. Patterson, also known as Beth Paxton, Jeff Barnes, Mallory Makepeace, Hildy Silverman, Terrence Ulysses Cork, the late John Manning. It was a friend of mine. He had his own press that a couple of my stories had appeared in, and unfortunately John's no longer with us. Dina Leacock and Allison Chrysler Smith. Basically 24 terrifying tales of the past and the present. This was probably the most challenging of all of the current 7 books in the series, and we do have 3 more books being worked on, so don't think that the series is all over. We're continuing, and who knows, it may go on forever. Probably the most stories, even more than Tales of the Apocalypse. So you're really getting your money's worth when you check this baby out. I guess I could give a little bit away about what's going on here. You find it out in the first chapter. Basically, there's a character who has a dream. And in that dream, he travels to some dark mystical realm. And in the course of his adventures, he wakes up in his bed. He's a doctor, and he wakes up in his bed on the East Coast, and he's clutching like a skull size, not skull shape, but skull size chunk of black diamond. But it's not like black diamond, which is like fragile, whatever. It's something that's like that. And what happens is in an early story, it gets cut in half, and it's made into a whole series of jewelry. And then that jewelry gets spread around the earth, and so a whole bunch of stories are about how that jewelry, warps reality and causes strange things to occur. And then much later in the 20th century, the other half of the diamond is found, and it's actually a room temperature superconductor, and it's made into a bunch of chips which are shipped out, and everything that they're put into these microchips warps reality and weird things happen. So yeah, it was a lot of fun for everybody to write. It had this joining factor, like the last book I talked about had that backstory of the 666 Tavern. In Facets, it's all about either a piece of jewelry that contains this weird black diamond, or the black diamond that was made into a semiconductor chip and was put in some piece of technology, and then that technology acted really weird. And it also has a little timeline that goes on between all the chapters, mentioning different events in the news, with usually one event being about a Sha'Daa-related item that wasn't really part of history. And yeah, I really think you'll enjoy this. Sha'Daa Facets, created by Michael A. Chanson, edited by Edward McEwen, and with an introduction by Eric S. Brown. I hope you enjoy reading it. Remember, it's on Audible, it's on Kindle, and it's right here in trade paperback. Thank you very much.